Hello everybody, I am just reviewing here a transcription that I've been sent. I didn't do this transcription, this was sent to me by one of my patrons, Mike, over on my private Facebook group, which is for my patrons. So if you want to get access to that, you can support me on Patreon, link below. I wanted to make a video, Mike's just responded to that, I wanted to make a video in response to this because there's a few things that I can go about correcting in Mike's work, which will definitely be of benefit to Mike and maybe be of benefit to you guys as well. So the first two things are very quick and simple. The first thing I would do is I would go in, and I don't like it when you have your eighth notes beamed in separate twos like this. So obviously two ways we can deal with that. We can highlight where there should be a grouping and go over to here and force beams. If we do that, that'll tidy things up. Another way of doing that would be under your time signature. You can actually make eighth notes beam like that. I don't usually do that though, just because it messes up 16th notes as well. Obviously that's going to depend on the transcription. So that's thing number one that you can fix on this mic. Number two would be here F7, which will bring up the style sheet. You can also access that from File and Style Sheet. Go into Systems and Staves and First System Indentation. Untick that box and that will get rid of the space at the front of the score. That's obviously not essential. I just prefer the way that lays out. Where I wanted to help you out here was when I looked through, we have a couple of bars. I mean, I've not put a lot of time and effort into this. Literally 5 seconds, and I thought I can do a video on this for you. So this bar jumped out at me. Now the reason this bar jumped out at me is because what you have here is a rhythm that's very difficult to read. If I just open up a new score, the thing with writing music notation out and is the goal is always reading, right? So when we look at a phrase like that, what we can see there is each individual beat, right? Makes sense, yeah? Each one of these lasts for a beat. Now on your file, what you've got is one of these is a dotted note, dotted quarter note. So this lasts for a beat and a half, right? Now the way you've written this out is as follows. So this is going to play correctly. The MIDI is going to sound how you want the MIDI to sound, which is great. But the difference is when I look at this particular file, I can see beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. Now it's not essential when you're writing music out that you can always see where the beats fall. But as a general rule, at least in music theory class, I was always taught that you should always be able to see this part here, which is the middle of the bar. You should never have a note that goes through the middle of the bar. If I needed a note to go through the middle of the bar, that's what we use a tie for. So in this particular instance, what I would do here is I would put in this rhythm, which is easier to read. I mean that one looks correct to my eyes. Obviously there's a ton of ways you could write that out. You know, you could write it like this. This is me just using too many ties. Don't think I'd really want to see it written like this, but it's going to sound the same as what you've written. In fact, let me do that, put it in the way you've put it in. So this bar is going to sound the same as this bar and the same as this bar. The difference between the way you wrote the bar versus the way I wrote the bar is in my bar you can see the middle of the bar, whereas in yours this note here actually starts at the end of beat 2 and goes through beat 3, and that's just not preferable. So on your transcription I would fix that as follows. So there's that fix. Now it's the same principle when we look at this bar. When we look at this bar, if we really analyse what you've got going on here, if you look at this beat, we've got a beat there, beat 1 of the bar. Here is beat 2 of the bar. Great. Here you've got beat 3, but actually if we count this up, we've got a 16th note, an 8th note, and an 8th note. Well, that's 5 16th notes, so that doesn't add up. That doesn't mean that this rhythm is wrong, it just means that there's a better way of writing it, and that would be to make the last note, I mean, if we think of this logically, that last note is an 8th note in length. We want it to stay an 8th note in length, but we don't want there to be an 8th note in the beat, so we make this a 16th note, and then we insert another 16th note there, and suddenly this rhythm is readable again, at least to my eyes. I can then see this and go ba ba, ba 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 ba. There's not a tie. I thought it was a tie. Ba 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 da 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 da. Yeah. And you know, you have a similar problem here where we have a 16th note starting the bar. Well, then this would be beat 1, and then this is sort of 3/4 of beat 1 and then goes into beat 2. So these are, you know, things that I think you can spend time fixing. Here's another great example here where you've got 2 dotted 8th notes. Again, the better way of writing that would be as follows, because then we can visually see here's beat 3 and here's beat 4. We don't have any ambiguity in the parts. So I hope that was of some sort of interest to you. As I say, if you do like my content and if this was helpful to you and you want to improve your transcription skills and get a bit of rapport going with other like-minded transcribers, get advice, feedback and transcription challenges, best way to do that is to support me on Patreon. Alternatively, you can obviously just follow me here on YouTube. Yes, so I hope that was lots of fun, and I will see you on another video soon. Peace out, guys. Bye.